everyone, Flossy here again. I'm once again going to be looking at 3 Eurovision songs, and one I like the most will be given 3 points. The one I like the least will be given 1 point. So far I've looked at 15 songs, and at this point all the songs have been selected. I think all of them have had their official revamps, so we've pretty much got the official versions of every song now. Now, the first song I'm going to be looking at today is Portugal's song. It's by, and once again, I'm going to pronounce everything wrong. I'm so sorry. It's by Claudia Pascal, and it's called O Jardim. I've probably said that wrong. Sorry. And obviously, like most Portuguese entries as well, it's in Portuguese. I've watched the national final performance, and doesn't really need to be said, Portugal are the reigning champions, so it's got a lot of pressure on it, this entry. Sorry, I can hear my cat playing with a bell. Okay, now in regards to the actual song, I thought it was very haunting at the start, which was quite nice, and it had a very nice build up. But to me, it didn't really pay off. It was like I was waiting for something to happen, and then it didn't. And it actually, it reminds me of a Coldplay song from about 10 years ago. I don't know why. It may be sort of Clocks or Yellow, something along those lines. That kind of like, they tend to be this kind of mellow, like almost dreary but pleasant sounding at the same time. That was the kind of way Coldplay was about 10 years ago. It still kind of is, but they were very much like then, and what this song reminds me of now. Vocally, she had I don't know exactly how to describe her voice. It wasn't a husky voice, but it was breathy at the same time. It was very mellow again. I'm not sure exactly what it is. And at one point the staging was very weird. I'll get onto that in a minute. But there was a bit of harmonies at one point, and to me the harmonization didn't go is that a word? To me the harmonies didn't go completely perfectly. But that could obviously, unless you get more than one performance, you don't know for sure if that's a recurring thing or if it's just a one-time thing. In regards to the actual staging and performance, it was very simple staging, very much like what you would expect from Portugal. I got confused. Basically what it is that you've got the main singer sort of stood on stage singing, and then for most of the song you had this woman sat behind her wearing what looked like a straitjacket with her back to the audience. And then she turns around partway through the song, sings a bit, and then turns back round for the rest of the song. And it was just bizarre, and I was just I didn't get it. Overall, obviously, I thought the performance was a bit weird. I don't think this song is as good as last year. I think it kind of echoes what it was like last year. It's kind of like Portugal's the anti-Sweden nowadays. Portugal goes for the very simple classic type, and Sweden is the kind of polished, everything is perfect, and there's the staging is over the top and everything. They're kind of the arch opposites, but they're both really good at the same time. And I think the issue is, for me last year, Portugal, even though it wasn't my favourite song, it was very romantic, whimsical, and it reminded me of something from the 50s or something like that. It was this very dreamy quality about it, and this song is kind of echoing that, but not doing quite as well. And I think this is actually seeming to be a trend with defending champions in the past few years, at least since I think 2013 maybe, where obviously these countries have automatically qualified for the final, and the songs haven't done as well. I think last year Ukraine was in the 20s, their final result. Sweden's, I think, the exception to this. Well, at least 2016 Sweden was, because obviously they came in 5th place, but Sweden's very polished, and obviously they've got the juries in their national selection now, so they're going to do well because they're largely decided by the people who will be voting at the end. So yeah, I think Portugal's just like continuing this trend where I think it's nice, but it's not a winning song. And the problem is you can send a good song, which I think Portugal is, but if you're not sending a winning song, at least 10 other countries are. So that's 10 countries vying for the top 10 position. Unless you send a winning song, you're not going to make the top 10. This is like something I think the UK definitely suffers from. We're sending good songs, but we're not sending winning songs. And I think this is what Portugal's doing. Obviously, I didn't think the song built into anything, and I didn't get the woman in the straitjacket singing for a bit and then turning her back again. I just didn't understand it. But I will say the singer does have a unique voice, which I think is quite nice. And obviously staging can change. You know, what's going on in the national final could be completely different to what they're going to send to Eurovision. So I don't know. It has the option to potentially get better. So I'm cautiously optimistic about it because I did think it was a good song. It's just not my favourite of songs. Now, the second song I'm going to be talking about today is Romania's song. It's by The Humans and it's called Goodbye. This song is in English and this song is in English, and I watched the national final performance. I'd actually seen little clips of this before, and it's always been from the music video and it's always kind of at the chorus. And what I'd seen of it, I really liked, so I was really looking forward to seeing this. So watching the live performance, I was actually really disappointed. I wasn't so sure about the start. It kind of had just the vocals in. It's just like, it didn't feel completely like getting into it, and I liked when the instruments started getting into it, and like I've said before, I really like the chorus of this song. I think it could be, I don't know, the chorus is what stands out about it, basically, for me, at least. Vocally, I think at the start of it, she had good vocals. It wasn't particularly outstanding. There was an initial long moment of her singing Goodbye, and that wasn't so good. But, and she didn't have necessarily the best diction. It wasn't completely clear to me what exactly she was singing, so I wasn't completely sure what the song was about. But I will say the long note that she did at the end was very good. It was a lot better than a lot of the other parts she was doing. Staging wise, the opening looked quite awkward, and it seemed to me like the microphone didn't work too well, right at the start at least. And I did find it quite funny. She pulled a Bucks Fizz at one point, you know, ripping clothes off, but it kind of was like, oh, there's no build up to this. You know, there's two significant kind of Bucks Fizz moments we've really had in Eurovision. Obviously Bucks Fizz, and they're like, if you want to see some more. And then, of course, with Latvia's, was it Latvia? Their winning entry with I Wanna? I think it was Latvia, but of course that was kind of the whole routine, slowly taking different bits of clothes off. Charming. So that's what the singer like kind of did in this, but it just didn't build up to it, so I was kind of like, oh, what's going on? And like with Portugal, it's very simple staging, which I think works with this kind of a band. But yeah, overall, like I said, I like the chorus, and it only seemed to have one opening verse, which is good, but it's slightly awkward at the same time. I like that it's a female-fronted rock band. That could come into some issues compared to Switzerland this year, who's obviously, it's not quite a band because it's a duo, but it's female-fronted. So, you know, they could be going for a bit of competition, but I quite like the fact that we've got two of them, but for other people they might clash with each other, I guess. And like I said before, I'd seen bits of the song from the music video before that I really liked, so it was kind of annoying that they weren't as good. Hopefully the lack of clearness was a one-time thing and it'll get better later on. Now, the final song today is going to be San Marino's song. It's by Jessica featuring Jennifer Brenning. Sorry, there's a pixel line running down my screen, so I can't actually see what exactly. Yeah, Jessica Brenning. And the song is called Who We Are. This song is in English. I'm a bit confused about what I watched. I watched the national final performance that was on the Eurovision YouTube page, and I think this was the only one I could find of the actual performance and not the winning one. So, I don't think the vocals in the video are live. I think they might be dubbed over with obviously the actual single instead, so I'm not quite sure. Otherwise she has very unnaturally, well, not unnatural vocals, but they're very just, it didn't quite fit. There was something a bit jarring where, you know, it's like not completely, it's like when you see someone lip syncing in a music video, essentially. That's what it felt like to me. The national final was also, oh gosh, the national final is also slightly confusing. It's had a bit of controversy. It's kind of like Greece at the same time, because I think there's an issue with phoning in to vote for something in San Marino. Like the way they vote for Eurovision, I don't think they can actually vote because they're sort of attached to Italy at the same time. They have the same telephone lines or something like that. So I don't know. San Marino's votes for actual Eurovision are composed in a different way to the way the rest of every other country is. And so San Marino, I think that caused their national final to have a different voting system. I think that's what happened. And they kind of had a GoFundMe type system where instead of phoning in, you had to purchase votes. So that's very confusing. It potentially is a bit corrupt at the same time, but I don't know. So for the actual song, I don't think it was a particularly gripping song. To me, the chorus had a bit more to it, and I will say it's better than most San Marino entries. The rap felt a bit random, and I liked the end chorus. And vocally, it seems good, but like I said, it just felt like it was a music video instead. So I don't know what she's going to be like live. You never know. Staging wise, it was awkward staging because this was on a very small stage, and at the front there were some weird dancing robots. And the choreography was a bit awkward as well. Mainly when the Jennifer Brenning came out and she started rapping, and then you had, is it Jessica? Yeah, Jessica doing choreography in the background, and I was like, oh, okay. And it was really cheesy, the ending. They both formed a little heart with their hands, and you're like, oh, that's so sickly. So yeah, it was a bit off, the staging for me. Overall, the song felt a bit underwhelming and it was a bit awkward. I didn't really get a proper taste of it because it seemed to be a music video. I will say it's better than most San Marino entries. It felt a lot more current, but I don't particularly see it as a qualifier. It could change. Hopefully the staging will be a lot better in actual Eurovision, and because the staging distracted from the song, so fingers crossed for it. Overall today, I don't think it was a particularly strong selection of songs, these three. So I think all three have the potential to do better, and I think it largely, I think they all have the potential to do better. I think it largely depends on staging and their actual performance and like the vocals in that. So we could see. My 1 point today is going to San Marino. The whole thing just felt awkward to me. I wasn't particularly into it, but I am trying to be optimistic about it, and I think it can be improved in May. Like I've said, it feels a lot more current. I think it's probably like the best entry they've had since probably like Valentina's second or third entry. I think it's because after that it was just like there's a bit of cheesy, just like the past few entries, they haven't been particularly notable. So hopefully this can kind of like buck a trend for them. I'm giving Portugal 2 points. I'm not a particular fan of this one. I do like her voice. Like I've said before, the song's good, but it's not a winner. It doesn't stand out to me that much. And the staging, like the other woman just popping, turning around and turning back around, was a bit weird. I think they need to change how they're going to do that. So obviously my 3 points are going to Romania. I've said before, I really like the chorus of this. The live performance was the letdown for me. And like the other ones, I think it has the potential to... Like the other ones, I think it has the potential to improve in May. So I've got my fingers crossed for it. Hopefully the vocals were just a one-time thing as well. Now, the leaderboard currently stands with Romania, the Netherlands, Moldova, Italy, Denmark and Czech Republic with 3 points. And San Marino, Montenegro, Malta, Hungary, Germany and Albania with 1 point. Like I said before, I'm not too keen this time, but it just shows for every song you find great, there's one you think is a dud. So fingers crossed for the next one. Well, I am Flossy, and ta-ta!